Hello. Today we're going to talk about something that is very hard, which is naming your character. I know that sometimes the name will just pop up in your mind and you have no trouble at all to name your characters. And some other days it's really hard. So I have here some easy ways for you to name your original characters. My first tip, and this is probably one of my favorites, is match the personality. So I have here my D&D character. He's a cleric and his name is Paella Greenleaf. Now, I've had this name for a while and I really like that it fits him really well because he actually really likes to cook. But before being a cleric, he actually has a family restaurant where he used to cook. And he still really enjoys cooking. So the name Paella kinda shows that love for cooking. You associate the character with food. And of course the Greenleaf, he's a halfling, and Greenleaf is always like the kind of halfling name, so it matches his personality and who he is. So if you're having some difficulty, think about their personality and think about something that will match their personality. For example, in the adventure zone, another cleric here, we have Merle Highchurch, and again he's a cleric, right? And his last name is Highchurch. So again, the name and what he does for a living are associated with each other. So think about what does your character do, or who they are, their personality, and come up with something that is related to it. But let's see maybe an easier way, which is name generators. So there's quite some websites where it would just generate names for you depending on what you're looking for. So for example, I have here name-generator.org.uk, and you have quite a lot of options here. So you can go for just a quick name, character name, a pen name, band name, and so on, even cat names if you want, food, a couple name. There's a lot of things. So let's see here, a character name. Okay, so as you can see, there's quite some questions here. So how many examples would you like to generate? You can put up a number. I would say to maybe go for, I don't know, maybe 3, just so you don't have, sometimes when you have too many options, it is a bit harder to choose. So try to go for less options and see what you can do with those. Now, what gender you want, what's your character's title, if you want to have any kind of title for your character, which is pretty cool. You have lots of options here. The flavor, so is your character human? Are they a zombie? They will have options for the zombie as well. Are they a vampire or a witch or a wizard? I'm going to put witch or wizard, I like that. And what type of character is he or she? What kind of character are they? So are they a great leader, are poetic, virtuous, or evil? Let's put evil. Let's have some fun here. You can have a birth here. Okay, 2006. Of course, why not? How would you describe their nationality? You can just not add anything, but there's lots of options here, as you can see. How would you describe their parents' nationalities? And which best describes their character's religious background? Again, you have quite some options. You even have Jedi. See? How popular do you want the name to be? What letters you want there to have? I'm not going to put anything here. I want it to be as random as possible. And okay, give me some character names. Alright, so we have Amy West. We have Alicia Umbridge. And Annie Brown. So as you can see, it gave us here quite some names. Now here, maybe these are, if you're working with fantasy characters, is not fit as well for you, but if you're working with characters in the modern world, maybe these might help you. Also, when you get these names, for example, we have 3 options here. What you can do, maybe, hey, okay, I like Amy, but I don't want West. I could go with Amy Brown or Amy Umbridge. You see, you can do whatever with these names later on with the suggestions you have, just so you don't have exactly what a website told you. I always like to do this, be a little bit more creative with the names I get with the generators. I'm going to show you here another example. So this is really helpful if you're working with fantasy characters. So it's fantasynamegenerators.com. And you have here a lot of options. I mean, a lot. So fantasy names, you can go for aliens, Amazons, angel, banshee, or caveman names, centaur, genie, gargoyle names, fairy names, ifrit names, hobbit names, necromancer names. I mean, you choose. There's lots of things to choose here. So let's see elf names, for example. And bam, there you go. It will give you a lot of options right away. You can choose if you want male names, female names, or neutral names. Now, again, what I do here, I've used this kind of generators for characters before, especially in games where you have to name your characters. And I want a new name for a character and then I don't know what to call them. I like to go here sometimes and look for things that are relatable to their class. But what I do is, for example, I found something that I like. Tamnayet Dashalin. Okay, I like this one. But how about I change it a little bit? For example, instead of Tamnayet, I could go with Talnayet with an L instead of an M. So you see, I like to change them a little bit just so they're more personalized and I feel a little bit they're mine. That I feel like they're more mine than just a name I found in the generator. So this is a game you can do when finding the names. You choose something and then play with the words and find something a little bit more personalized. So these are two name generators that can be very helpful for you to find a name for your character. Now for my next tip on finding names for your characters is to go according to their nationality. So let's say that your character is Irish. Why not, right? If you look for Irish names, it will appear you. Obviously, a lot of times it's for baby names, for people that want to name their babies. But hey, the character is a bit like your own baby, so why not? Let's see, let's go for this one, for example. 100 Irish first names and their beautiful meanings. I always like to know the meanings of them because I can find something that is relatable to the personality of my character. So read on those meanings, it will help you choose the name. Because let's say, for example, the first one, Aoife. Aoife? I think that's how you pronounce it. Irish names can be very hard to pronounce, I'm so sorry. This name means beautiful, radiant, or joyful, and likely derives from the Gaelic word, I can't read this, I'm sorry, meaning beauty or pleasure. So, okay, yes, see, if your character is someone known for their beauty and how joyful they are, then this will be a good name for them, for example. Of course, you can just name your character because you like the name, and that's it. It's totally valid. I've done that with characters of mine as well, but other times you might want to add some meaning to their name. Now this one is a fun one. My next tip is actually name something that is the reverse of their personality. So for example, I have here this character. He looks like a good character, right? I think everything in him shows us that he's well behaved, he will do everything for others. However, his name is Diablos. Weird, right? So why not have a good character but with an evil name? That can make for something interesting in your story, and it is a funny quirk to add to your character. You can do the opposite. So let's say you have an evil witch. She looks evil, she will kidnap kids and turn them into soup or into candy. I don't know, she will eat them, but her name is actually Miss Sweet. She has a good person's name. So play with these things. It's fun to play with the names and their personalities. So instead of naming them something that is related to their personality, go for something that is actually the opposite. It can be very fun. You can have funny moments with your characters and your stories, like in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where they find this character, right? And they ask his name, and he goes, he's very mysterious, he also looks very evil, and he goes, "There are some who call me Tim."
There are some who call me Tim.
So why not that? I think it's funny. It's a very funny take. So go with that if you feel that is good for your story and your character. And speaking of Tim, one-word names are more than enough. So that's my next tip. One word is enough. You don't need to worry about a last name. A lot of my characters don't have last names because, well, I never thought about them. But it is more than enough. For example, you can have this warrior whose name is Stu. That's it, Stu. But you can later on give them a title. So his name is Stu, but later on he becomes Stu the Brave. Try that. It's not very hard, you just need to come up with one name and then find a title that will suit them. For example, think about Lord of the Rings. You have Gandalf. I'm not entirely sure if Gandalf has a last name. At least I don't think he has in the movies. I know he has an elven name, but he is Gandalf the Grey. That's it. He has a first name and a title, and later on, after that really big XP boost, he is named Gandalf the White. He does level up his title as well, but that's it, he's known as Gandalf. So try that as well. It can be a bit easier to just think about one name instead of thinking about the whole name with more than one word, so it's very helpful. Alright, my next tip, and this is my second favorite, which is be silly with it. I'm not kidding. I mean, I have Pearl, right? That we talked about at the beginning. And this one is Jean. She's named Jean. There's no reason for her to be named after an alcoholic beverage. I just named that because I like the word. I think it's a silly word, I like the word, and she's a silly character, so I thought I'd name her Jean. There we go, that's the whole reason. You don't need a very deep reason to name your characters. You can just go with very silly names. So just think of puns, food, drinks, places, or even objects and use that for the name. For example, why not have a character named Clock, where he's always on time? That's his thing. Let's see more examples. For example, in Dragon Ball, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Akira Toriyama actually named a lot of his characters after foods. So for example, we have Vegeta, so it's after the word vegetables, for example. And then you have Gohan. Gohan actually means, I think it means rice, but it also means meal. So you see a lot of names in Dragon Ball are after foods or things related to food. And I think that's really fun and actually smart, because I mean, if he needs to name someone else, he can just think, what I'm going to name this person? Let's think about food. Bam, this is in. I think you have one of that squadron team. His name is Buta, for example, which is after butter. Of course, a lot of these words are the Japanese version, right? But you have Beerus, Lord Beerus, which is after beer. I mean, just have fun with it. Even lunch, I think he doesn't know anymore if her name is after the food lunch or is after lunch, but her name could actually just mean lunch. So just think about these things and don't be afraid to be silly with it. It's really fun. I think it's really fun. It's one of my favorite ways to name characters, so just go along with it. Next tip, anagrams. Anagrams are fun. You can just pick up a random word. For example, I have here triangle, and then let's see what we can do with this. We can have at ergnu. I don't know about you, but I think this is a very perfect name for an elf. If you want to name an elf who is very royal and sophisticated, at ergnu would be a perfect name. Of course, read it like this. It will help you see the character. Now, for you to have this kind of anagrams, you don't need to come up with them by yourself. You can just come over here to wordsmith.org/anagram, choose a word. I don't know, I'm going to say, let's see if fork works. Get anagrams. Whoa, you can't do anything with fork? Okay, let's try something else. Balcony. Okay, so we have Alcony, why not? What else? Clanboy, you can name your character Clanboy. Nayblock, Luck Be On, Cienlob, Cienno, it's not a bad name. See, you can just pick up the most random word you can find. I don't know, just look at your side and you see a chair, write that down. You see a keyboard, write that down in this website and see what kind of anagrams you can get. Naming your characters doesn't have to be boring or hard. It's actually really fun, so be silly with this and you'll see that you'll get very interesting names for your characters. So these are my tips, and now that you have a name, it's time to improve your original character design. I've created this video where you can check out what are some easy ways that you can improve your character. I even improved one of my older characters as well in that video, so be sure to check it out. And as always, keep on drawing.